Am I the a-hole for going off on my sister for saying her bio kids are our kids? So, my older sister has 5 kids by different men. Her first child was abandoned to my mother shortly after birth. Her second child was attempted to be given to a co-worker at 9 months old. Attempted, as in the co-worker offered to babysit the kid, but was surprised when she got baby's diaper bag with birth certificate, social security card, and a note saying, "You keep the little witch, I don't want her." Social services ended up getting involved, and my mother got her as well. Next 2 children are with both of their wonderful dads, and 5th is currently with her after the dad kicked them both out. From the entire time my mom had the kids, my sister never once visited, or specifically, called about them. She'd call sharing some news, then as an afterthought she would ask about the first kid, but never the second, before she hung up the phone. My mom died a year ago and my husband and I offered to take the 2 now teenagers. My sister was all for it. She came around and talked to them for a little bit, filled their heads with stories of how she tried everything she could to be with them, and pretty much telling them that she wasn't in their lives because a series of unfortunate events. So, we have the kids now for a year, and during this time my sister has made efforts to ask about them. She has bought them gifts, and she occasionally Skyped with them. I will mention though that I allowed their relationship to grow as long as all 3 parties were okay with it. At first, I would set up awkward Skype calls where they all tried to get to know each other once a week. After a couple months, I told everyone that I won't be setting it up anymore, that they are free to talk to each other whenever they'd like, without feeling pressured. After that, things kind of just went cold, and the kids said they just don't feel comfortable with it. The last factor to take in consideration is this. When my husband and I were filing paperwork, my sister looked over the form, and she said she agrees to everything on the form. Us being responsible for insurance, us having physical and legal custody, except the parts where she has to pay child support. She said she was in arrears for never paying child support for her kids, and she wouldn't be able to get a driver's license if she had to owe even more. So she wouldn't sign until we agreed to not ask for child support. One thing that has been bothering me, when I text my sister, she always asks about our kids. How is our kids doing? She hasn't been there for these kids for all but the last year of their lives, and refuses to financially support them at all. And she has the nerve to call them our kids? I finally snapped and told her as much. I later got a text from my other 2 sisters saying that it wasn't called for, that my sister is their birth mother, and that she has been trying with the kids lately. Now I'm wondering if I was being an a-hole to my sister and should apologize. My sister was really upset about it. She said she was the one that gave birth to them, and I was just the aunt, and said she wanted to be nice and say they were both of our kids. Now for the top comments. Not today, Hull. Your sister was an egg donor for you and your parents' children. Nothing she has done has shown her to be a mother. Funny how the one who gave birth to them has never spent any time raising them. It would be odd to just tell her sister that she's not welcome in her home or around her kids. She doesn't come in my home. We live across the country from each other. And luckily, the kids don't seem to want anything to do with her. And she doesn't really ask to talk to them. She really just talks to me about them and sends them gifts. Not a hole. She's probably only making an effort now because they're teenagers, and she figures most of the work has already been done, so it's safe to connect with them now. I bet she never asked about them when they were little because she was worried someone might make her take them back. They're also getting to be of age where they can get jobs. Gotta get on their good side now so she can hit them up for money later. I'm hoping that won't happen. The kids learned a bit about my sister from my mom. When they ask me about things they want to fact check, I either say, yes, I know for a fact that is true. No, I know mom is lying, or I wasn't there for that, so I don't know for sure. The kids seem to have made up their minds already about how they feel about her without my influence, so hopefully they wouldn't feel obligated if that situation arose. Not a hole. Okay, so you snapped, but it's clear why you did. Those kids are yours because you're the one sane adult who stepped in to raise them. To heck with what your sisters and their texts are saying. They aren't the ones raising someone else's children. They can say whatever they want, but you are still the better person. Good on you for being there for those kids. Thank you. I really appreciate hearing that. After everyone turned on me, I started to really feel horrible. I felt like I had no right to be upset at my sister who is trying to get back in their lives. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner that my stepson spends too much time at our home and his mother needs to make more of an effort? Okay, so I've been dating this guy now for nearly 8 months. We've been living together for 2. Everything was going great and we're like best friends and have so much in common. But his 4-year-old son is now proving to be a bit of a strain on our relationship, and I feel like I can't take him anywhere. His son throws tantrums, slams doors when he doesn't get what he wants, smashing the glass on my sister's door. When we buy him things, he says, "I didn't want that," or "I don't like it." When we take him to a store, he picks up everything he sees and throws tantrums when he doesn't get them. Spits his food out when we cook for him, tells us he doesn't like us, making my 7-year-old niece cry when he says horrible things to her as well as throwing her things off of our balcony, etc. He's a nightmare. Let me just add that his dad always has to buy him new toys every time he takes him out, which I told him he shouldn't. His mother is now treating us like a daycare. And she had him for 1 day last week and having him for 2 next week, while she goes on holiday with her new boyfriend and going out with friends. My partner is now currently unemployed, and I'm the main breadwinner and struggling to support all 3 of us due to having to buy extra food and more gas and electric usage. I'm also woken up at 7 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday because my stepson wants the iPad charging or more games downloading, when weekends are supposed to be my time after working all day Monday to Friday. I don't finish until 8 p.m. I told my partner this has to stop, and my place cannot be treated like a daycare. He needs to either A, take him out weekends, or B, rotate it so we have him every other weekend. I feel like my life has been taken over as well as my apartment, as his son has his own bedroom and my things have been taken out of drawers and placed into plastic bags which I'm now living out of. My partner is struggling being away from his son, and I feel horrible for giving him ultimatums. But I feel I need to look after myself too, as I never did in my last relationship. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I feel this whole living situation is making things worse. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I am not trying to stop my partner seeing a son. I am merely implying that the kid needs routine and equal time with both mom and dad on rotating days, in which my partner also agrees. I know they come as a package, and I'm willing to take this on, but neither parent is financially supporting this child. Everyone sucks here. Your house is not being treated like a daycare. It's being treated like the home of a child's parent, which it is. You are in a relationship with a parent. You either need to come to terms that he might wind up with his kid full-time, or you need to not be in a relationship with a parent. Little kids get up early, and if that bothers you, you should not be living with a kid and his parent. Not at all reasonable to tell the parent that his child just needs to not exist in your space. Your partner sucks for putting you in a position where you are living out of bags in your own home, for not disciplining his child, for spoiling his child, for putting the entire burden of supporting himself and his child on you. But here's the thing, he is not going to change. This is how he parents. This is how he deals with his ex. You've been dating less than a year and this guy already has you supporting him. You are feeling mental health effects. You are struggling financially. Looking after yourself is the correct choice, but the way you are doing it is not okay. The 4-year-old is a product of the parenting he is being provided. Your boyfriend is showing you what to expect. So either accept and get on board with a kid taking over your life because that's what they do, or move this guy back out and think about whether this relationship will work long term. Everyone sucks here. Based on your post history, there is a lot more going on here. You jumped right into moving in with a man you've been with for 6 months, after only recently leaving a horrible man you were with for 11 years. You have still been posting about the ex in a very real, active way since this new relationship started. You are not ready to move on. What you are doing isn't healthy for you, for your new boyfriend, and for the child. You need time alone, a therapist, and peace and quiet. Leave. This is not a healthy dynamic for anyone, and it's up to you to take the reins and fix that. Everyone sucks here. Your partner may have some good qualities, but he sounds like a pretty crappy parent, and that's unlikely to change. And the fact that he has a kid really isn't going to change. So you need to think about whether or not you can live with that. You have not been turned into a daycare. Your partner has a kid. This is the deal when you date someone with a kid. If mom dies or pieces out, you're gonna have this kid 24/7. I encourage you to have some empathy for the kid too. He is a little person with some big feelings who has been shunted around his whole life and is likely given everything he wants because the parents feel some guilt. He's doing what's been reinforced. FYI, I don't blame the child for his behavior. His behavior is down to the parents, and I believe he needs some stability in his life. I hope you realize that having him and your partner move in when you only knew him for 6 months is likely a big factor in this lack of stability. I'm going to have a word with my partner tonight. I was happy leaving it 12 months before meeting a son, but my partner couldn't wait that long. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole because I didn't want to keep giving my sister money? I'm 19 female and I recently started a new temporary job a few weeks ago that I love. I finally heard back from this field trip instructor / teaching assistant job where I help at the school and they pay me and everybody $16 per hour because of the travel and hard work. I feel like I made the mistake of answering my sister, 26 female, when she asked how much I was making. And now she's been asking me for favors or wanting to be close lately. Her boyfriend, 27 male, and her make minimum wage, which is a little above $8 per hour in our state. So since money has been an issue for them, I guess that's why she has been asking me for some in small amounts, but it piles up. Like her $20 for groceries and $15 to buy takeout is going to pile up, and I've probably given $100. It doesn't bother me that much since I still have enough for savings, but I feel like all of a sudden my sister sees me as a moneymaker. So I tried to back away or spend less, but she caught on. I don't know if they'll censor it, but she called me the C-word and a witch for turning my back on family now that I'm doing better than them. It's starting to get to me emotionally because she was never like this. And I know she's not good with money either since she gives it to her boyfriend for spending, so she doesn't have much either. Am I the a-hole really? Because I've tried to put a stop to giving her money. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. It ain't your job to subsidize her. If she needs money for takeout, she can get a second job. Or buy actual groceries, which are way cheaper. Or food pantry, community meals, food kitchens, EBT, or any other available programs. Not the a-hole. You do not owe her a penny. Takeout? Takeout is a luxury. Why would you fund her luxury items? Agreed. Not the a-hole. We are comfortable, and I still hesitate to get takeout. It's expensive, and we have groceries that were just bought. I still consider it a luxury due to its expense. Not the a-hole. She's using you for your money. She's the a-hole. What is stopping her from getting a higher paying job? She finished her university education, but she hasn't been able to get one that pays more despite applying everywhere. And it's not just me she's asking, but also other people too, like my mother, our aunt and cousin, etc. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for buying a toy that I only want my nephew to use at my house and not letting my sister-in-law take home? Yesterday morning, I, 25 female, found a Power Wheels John Deere tractor at a yard sale that didn't work, but it was only $15. And I thought it was worth getting for my nephew, 3 male, to see if my boyfriend, 27 male, could fix it. I moved in with my boyfriend last weekend, and he has a big field that I thought my nephew would love to ride it in. I bought it yesterday morning, and then yesterday evening after my boyfriend got off of work, we took his truck to the house and picked it up. They also had a little trailer that went with it that they threw in for free. My boyfriend and his friend worked on it for like an hour once we got home, and ended up getting it working by taking apart the gear shifter and cleaning the electrical connections inside it. I was pretty excited to show my nephew. Every month, I spend a day watching my nephew so that my brother, 28 male, and sister-in-law, 28 female, can relax and get stuff done. I also really enjoy spending time with him. Normally, I'll take him to the zoo or the beach or someplace like that, but he is potty training right now, and I didn't feel comfortable going anywhere. So I decided to just hang out with him at my house with my boyfriend and give him the tractor to drive around. He had a blast with the tractor. He would drive around the field, pick up sticks and rocks and put them in the trailer and then move them somewhere else. He had a huge grin the entire time, and by the time the battery went dead, he was getting pretty good at driving it. When my sister-in-law came to pick him up, he showed her his new tractor and she wanted to put it in their SUV to take home. I said that I preferred the tractor to stay at my house so that he would be excited to come over and play with it, and they don't have a very big yard to drive it in anyway. She then proceeded to say I was being an a-hole, In nicer words, for getting him a really cool present that he is only allowed to use at my house. Not today, Hall. There's nothing in this scenario any different than having a pool or tire swing that he'd be excited to play with, except it moves. And when he's older, he'll have fond memories of your house and the tractor. Not today, Hall. And the sister-in-law should be happy that Opie wants to keep toys around to entertain her nephew, instead of expecting sister-in-law to bring things with her every time to keep him occupied. Not to mention, it's pretty petty to call Opie an a-hole over that, when Opie's willing to give up time just to make sure her brother and sister-in-law can have some time away from the kid. That's not an obligation on Opie's part. That's a courtesy. Not today, Hole. My mother has always kept toys at her house for when she babysat grandkids, and it was understood that these toys were specifically for when the kids visited. I think your sister needs to understand that as well. Not to mention, if you have other nieces or nephews, eventually this will be something for them to play with when they come visit you. Not today, Hole. It's like if you let him play with an iPad. That's something he can do when he visits your house, and obviously isn't something he gets to take home because he likes it so much. If he likes it so much, the mom could go buy him one for their house, but you are definitely in your right for keeping it at your house because it's yours, and you could even keep it for when you have kids. If you want kids, of course. Did the boy know it was going to stay at your house? If so, not today, Hall. The members of our family who have had kids over keep toys at their house. It makes life easier. I think that's a great idea. I didn't really present it as a gift or anything to him. As far as he knows, it's just part of my boyfriend's tractor collection. He has a big tractor and riding mower, so this one looks really cute sitting next to them. This was the first time he has ever been to this house too.